Son, my internet's acting a bit weird, son.
What's wrong, bud?
Gareth.
You there?
Gareth.
This is SteegCast.
Welcome to SteegCast, everybody. We are now rolling into the third Weird Internet, and we are more than happy to be back doing this episode because this is the one that we love the most. I would say anyway. I love it the most. Can't stop wiggling around my chair. Yeah, I'm going mental. Sean's neck was just going mad. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was wild. Like,
how's your neck doing, son?
So how is everyone? How have we been over this last month and a bit?
Yeah, good, bud.
Better days, Lois. Better days. We're all right, didn't we?
Every day's a gift. Every day's a gift.
We still none of the four of us have still been in the same room with each other since early 2020, possibly. However, I have met up with Sean and Richard on two separate occasions recently, if I'm correct. Have I? Yeah, I have.
Yeah, you have, but yeah.
Filmed a skit, didn't you, with old Rich? Yeah.
We're halfway there. We've had private sessions, but no 4-man meets yet.
Yeah.
No 4-man meets. No New York delis. You went to New York Deli though, didn't you?
I certainly did, yes. I certainly did New York Deli, yes.
How was that? Because like vegetarian deli, how does that work?
They do vegan pastrami. It's actually banging. You think it'd be buzzing, but it's really good.
Vegan hot dog, I had, yes.
From New York Deli?
From there, yes.
So you're missing out. You got all the sani, like.
Is full. It's like half the menu's vegan. Yeah, you got to have a grinder or a hoagie or whatever. That's right. It was enormous. It was to eat with bare hands in the street was difficult in the rain.
It was nice to have a few high end craft beers outside of the home as well. It felt a bit more real, really. I mean, I've had some lovely beers and stuff at home, but it's just not the same sometimes as in an environment and enjoying the experiences and whatnot of such. So that was nice as well.
Do you see many ructions, son, or was everyone well behaved?
It was well behaved, yes.
Didn't go to the Sennies then, did you?
No, that was
I didn't go to the Sennies, no.
Why was everyone going mental outside there?
Me and
Gareth. It was just somewhere to sit, wasn't it?
Me and Gareth were down in Cardiff while all that was going on. We were in the city centre when all the shit was kicking off in the Sennies.
I walked past it all and stuff.
Bit of gossip, I mind. Bit of banter, nice.
Bit of banter.
That's what we like. Okay, so I haven't really predicted like an order to go in for this one because I know it's my direction. I'm gonna say because Sean's got a certain one that's a bit more full on, I'd imagine. Burroughs is kind of it's fun. It's fun. Burroughs is. So we're gonna start with Captain Rich because I think that's a good kicking off point.
Oh, start with me.
Kicking off.
Oh, you wasn't prepared for
kicking
that.
Off point. Son. Mad puns. Mad credit to you on the puns. So this is a story that I found a couple of weeks back. I thought was just fantastic for it's a con man essentially. So it's a guy born in Paris called Gregor. I want to say Ackleroyd, right? But it's not Ackleroyd. It's like
Ackroyd, son?
Acklerod. Like it's Acklerod, yeah. But
Dan Ackroyd, is your son?
Dan Ackroyd, no. But
an Acklerod.
Yeah. So basically, this guy, born in Paris, he always wanted to be a footballer since he was a kid. Since he was 10 years old, played his first game. His team lost 4-0 in the very first game, and on the car journey home, his father said that he's incredibly disappointed in you. You're so lazy and you're so bad. I don't want to see you on a football pitch anymore.
That's
no way.
Never had the makings of a varsity athlete.
Jesus, yeah. Just imagine your dad telling you that. From the ages of 10 to 18, Gregor was banned from playing football by his parents. They banned him from playing football because he was that bad, apparently.
Is this the origin story of Gregor Clegane?
I was just thinking that. Yeah, I was just thinking that now.
That's why he was such a prick.
But yeah, he was adamant that he wanted to be a footballer, though. And
Adam and the Ants was his son.
Adam and the Ants son, yeah. Then he went to be a footballer. So he had an idea while he was in school that he would make a fake website to give him the guise that he was a professional footballer. Now, he had a friend who worked in the Paris Saint-Germain football shop, basically, and he had a connection to him to get him onto the football pitch. So what he did, he bought the full Paris Saint-Germain kit, chucked it on. His friend led him into the stadium, and they took a picture of him on the pitch in the full kit as like a proper press photo. So, you know, if you go onto his website, it shows that, yeah, he plays for Paris Saint-Germain reserves, this, that, and the other, and it's like a proper thing. So after he did that, he decided to send his CVs out to various clubs to see if any bites would come. And these are professional football clubs now. So let's see. Which clubs did he go for?
That's what they do, eh? So
how old is he during this time? I imagine he was, 18?
Yeah, so he was like 18, like sort of 18 to 24, somewhere around that region. We was doing this.
Very, very vague. 6-year gap.
Well, no, but like in football,
any age basically.
No, in footballers' terms, that's just like your career essentially. It's just like from there to there. It's just nothing really.
They have a lot of common with porn stars, really, don't they? Footballers.
they hit their peak and then they just fall off. Like. Yeah, but yeah, he had like trials in Bournemouth. In what was the other one? I can't find it in my notes. Fucking hell, where they gone? Swindon, Bournemouth, and Chelsea, Manchester City, and Arsenal. But Chelsea, City, and Arsenal all turned him down, rightfully so. But Swindon Town decided to give him a shot, and he played a professional football game, like after basically making this website and doing everything. So it was only a friendly, but he scored, but they didn't want to sign him after it. And then he had a trial at Bournemouth after that, and he scored in a preseason game for them, but they wouldn't sign him either. Even though the Swindon fans wanted the manager to sign him, oddly enough, but the manager didn't want to sign him. But he was caught in that game for Swindon. He was caught by the Sky Sports cameras, and they interviewed him. He was interviewed on Sky Sports about being on trial and where he's come from and everything like that. And he just basically bullshitted his way through this interview. And he's on Sky Sports. Everything. This is unheard of in football, you know. So there were clubs after that. Then there were clubs in Luxembourg that offered him a professional contract, but he deemed them too small to play for him. Because he wanted to play in like the Premier, the sort of like the Champions League. That was his dream, to play in the Champions League.
So you want to play in the European Super League?
But his giant balls.
We'll get onto that after.
His giant balls are falling out of them shorts, I imagine. Man. Good God, how can you play football with testicles all out? Good God.
Yeah. But yeah, he wanted to play in the Champions League, so it didn't matter if he played in the Premier League or if he played in La Liga or Serie A, you know, in Italy, Spain, Germany, wherever. He wanted to play in the Champions League, and that was basically his dream, you know.
What about the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? Would they have him?
Possibly, son. That could be a potential. You know, there's an opening now. The Sean Connery bit, isn't there? So, but yeah. So after all that, he had an offer came in from this was like in the 2000s. This was like 2008, 2009. This is so a Bulgarian side called CSK Sofia, and they had originally he turned them down, but then they said, "Oh, we've just qualified for the Champions League," and he was like, "Oh, fucking right, I'm in." You know, it's just like this is what I want. I want to play in the Champions League. So his undoing came when a fan of CSK Sofia went on the Paris Saint-Germain fan boards on their website to ask them about this player. It says, "Oh, we're signing this player. We could see that he used to play for you. What do you think of him? What are we getting?"
It took that long for that to happen.
I know. It took a while, and the fans basically went, "No, he's a fraud. You know, he's not a professional footballer. He's never played for us. This, that, and the other." And everything came tumbling down. And the thing is, he was literally on the verge of signing a contract for CS. Like the next day, he was signing a contract, and that happened. and
Bad reference.
it just all fell down, and he was he was told to leave, like just like nah, go, just like you're
I mean, I
fraud.
think at that point when they're like, oh, he's actually really good at football.
He was shit though.
Should we
This
just-
so
Oh, was he?
yeah, so like to put it into perspective, he was an amateur footballer that, well, like I said, his dad said that he was the worst thing he's ever seen on a football pitch. He was laughed at. I think, where was it? I think it was Bournemouth. He was either Bournemouth or I missed Norwich. I think he was at Norwich as well. And
What?
he
What team did David Icke play for?
Oh, Norwich.
was it
Was
Norwich,
it
he
Norwich,
played
yeah.
for?
Oh, they got a track record, haven't they?
Was it I want to say Norwich. Someone find out for me. I want to say Norwich.
I'll find out. Sorry, Rich. Keep going.
But there was a there's a story of him
Cool.
basically the goalkeeper kicking the ball out and him going to try and chest it down to control it, but it just smacks him in the face and he falls over and just embarrasses himself, and basically the team is laughing at him effectively, and he couldn't control the ball, he couldn't strike the ball well, he literally he couldn't read the game, he was awful, it was just he was so bad. So no club in their right mind, like once CSK Sofia signed him, if that fan didn't go onto the page and they signed him, they probably would have just terminated his contract after 2 games. It was because he was that bad, apparently.
Bad
Could
reference.
he sue them and like get a couple of quid out of the termination? You reckon?
Possibly, yeah. They probably could.
So
But he
close
was-
to
I
being
think-
rich. Like,
I think the contract he was about to sign was worth £15,000 a week.
fucking hell.
So to go from nothing to getting 15k a week, like for a club. But yeah, so basically it all fell down then. He was told to leave, and he ended up playing in. Well, he had trials in Greece and Kuwait, of all places. I think after coming so close to the Champions League, he thought, right, I may as well just try and play football and not bother about the Champions League. And then he ended up finishing playing a year in Canada for, oh God, is it Mississauga Eagles? Is that how you pronounce the place in Canada? Mississauga?
Oh
I
my
don't
god! I never heard of it. And what? like,
for
did
myself,
he just
So
like,
he ended up playing 1 year in top flight football in Canada, and now he is a football agent helping helping players get into football.
That's fine.
That's
Worked out well.
That's the bit that got me. Is
So,
he's
yeah,
an
the
agent.
cherry on the top.
Not only that, he's an agent for like players in the Premiership and like proper big players. So he's doing all right. He's got an autobiography and all that shit. But yeah, I thought this story was just so fucking bonkers. Like, how can someone con so many different clubs? Like, none of them really. Well, one of them bit, didn't they? But a few of them flirted with the idea, and then it just all came.
It's a
tumbling
prime
down.
example of fake it till you make it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's how you do it.
All the power to him, that's what I say. Probably a
Yeah,
lad,
yeah,
and he
can't
bit of
fault that,
banter
Tom.
on him.
Gregor Ackleroyd, yeah. But it's like
absolute mad lad.
it's like I was going to say mention the story of the Nelson Mandela interpreter as well. You remember him at Nelson Mandela funeral?
Yeah, he's winged it.
He
Yeah,
just winged it, and he was just doing all this shit.
Yeah,
like.
yeah. The way to do it.
And,
That's how we do it.
Yeah, he was a schizophrenic apparently. So
Great.
yeah, apparently he escaped some sort of mental home and ended up becoming. He put down his performance in the Mandela funeral to a schizophrenic incident. That's what he said.
Oh,
But,
well, like he was an interpreter, and that was just like a schizophrenic episode, or like he was
Apparently-
just schizophrenic and just walked up there and started doing it.
Apparently, he's got basic training in sign language. I don't know how basic.
But it's Spanish.
Yeah,
Diminished responsibility was his son.
but that was that was the other example I thought of. Like when I read that story of the guy faking until you make it, like that guy at the Mandela funeral was the first one I thought of, just because like that made national news. Like he was all over the place.
fantastic.
He ended up being in an advert as well. That guy did, the Nelson Mandela interpreter.
Did he mean to be there?
Yeah, they hired him. They broke him out of his psychiatric ward to film an advert. Apparently,
Christ.
One pull over
apparently,
style.
I don't know if that's real or not. But
They hired an Indian to throw a water cooler through a window for him. Speaking of people not meaning to be in the place that they are in now. Do you remember that guy that went on the BBC?
Guy Goma?
Into an interview.
Oh, yeah.
We've brought him up before.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big
Like on-
surprise.
I can't remember which cast it was on.
It was the panic in his face that was the best part of that. He was just
Yeah.
brilliant.
He had that cheeky sort of look as though, like, I'm not supposed to be here, but I'm going to roll with this. That's what I liked about it. He's like, I'm
give
going
it a
to roll
go.
with this, see what I get.
Wasn't
did
the
that even
question like,
happen?
what do you think about the escalating conflict in Iran or something?
No, it was Apple versus Apple, Apple computers versus
Yeah.
Apple records.
And it was when they introduced him as an expert that he
Yeah,
started
Guy
panic.
Cooney they introduced him as.
What a
How did
legend.
How did that
'Cause he-
happen? Like,
He had the same
If,
first name as well. You can't write this stuff. He had the same first name as the fella they wanted to interview. You can't make that up.
Is that where the mix-up happened, is it? Possibly.
Could well be. Yeah. Well, he was sat waiting for an actual job interview, and a researcher or whatever from the BBC with a clipboard come out. Guy or Guy, I think his name is Guy. They pronounce it. But they brought him in, and you know he shuffles in or whatever, and they sit him down, and he's thinking, right, I'm here for a job interview, and he's literally on national television being interviewed, and well, you know the rest.
yeah.
That's not happened to
guess
you,
the
guy.
rest.
That would happen to you, man.
It would. I think he had to go and have the interview. Still got to go and have the interview after that as well. And I don't think he had the job in the end as well. It's pretty harsh.
Aye.
Poor fucker.
What about the job?
There were
What was
a
the
lot of
job for?
misconceptions saying he was a taxi driver and things like that. But they were trying to sex that up a bit. He wasn't a taxi driver though. He was there for an interview.
In the job interview, they'd be like, "Oh, what are your references? Oh, I've been on BBC News."
Well, yeah, he's got the experience, doesn't he? Now
What was the job he was applying for?
I'm not sure.
Service
It
desk.
might have been IT related, perhaps. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. I'm not sure.
By the way, David played for Hereford United.
Hereford.
Okay.
He was scouted out by Coventry City, I think. And then
Coventry, that
Hereford.
was one I was thinking of as well. Coventry.
He was born in Leicester. Everyone thinks he played for Leicester, but he never played for Leicester.
Goalkeeper he was, wasn't he?
He was a goalie, yeah. Goalie with bad knees.
Sensitive
Um,
knees.
He did sport pundit as well,
then,
didn't
is
he?
Yeah.
He went on to commentate, and then he went nuts in like Peru or something, and saw ghosts, and the rest is history.
And
Came the
lizards.
God's head, didn't he, son?
And lizards, yeah.
Yeah,
he was informed by the
things
great
started,
consciousness to spread the word of love that the world was going to end in 1997 if we didn't rebalance the love in the universe.
Yeah, but let's be fair.
And,
How do we know that the world didn't end in '97?
Oh,
Here we go. Here we go.
I was too busy watching The Lost World in 1997 to care. about
He is
any
saying
of
all of
Men in
this is like a mirrored illusion, though, basically, isn't he?
this. More or less.
This
Yes.
isn't reality sort of thing.
We're in an alternate
We've
reality.
gone. For anyone who's interested in us to talk about David Icke, we go heavily into David Icke in our first ever second episode, actually. That's how they get you.
That's what they get. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's probably a subject we might return to, YouTube permitting, YouTube censorship permitting, that is, because well, you're hard pressed to find a David Icke video that'll stay up longer than they get taken down quicker than Epstein got.
They're all re-uploads that some stay, some don't stay. Now none of them are official. No.
Maybe-
And apparently, do you know this strong thing that's going round? Apparently, you can't say that word without being pushed down in the algorithm anymore.
Oh, really?
Really.
Really, really, though.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
boy. But yeah, no, I was watching a gamer YouTuber, and they wouldn't say the word COVID was written on the screen, but he wouldn't say it. Holy sh! You're not that guy, mate.
And back. What happens as well is stuff will immediately get flagged, and information will come up as NHS
Yeah.
facts check, things like that comes up, even if you just say that word.
We got that on
it'll
our
come up
lockdown
underneath
special.
What's
Really?
that, sorry?
I've noticed
About
If
what?
you go on,
Never-
if you go on our lockdown special, that pops up at the bottom.
Yeah, that's how it goes on anything. I don't want to blacklist myself too much, but if you even sort of question or speak out against anything related to that as well, it'll just immediately get flagged or taken down as well.
All the people that are spewing
and,
complete shit about COVID, though, it doesn't seem to ever get put on them.
what normally happens is they will automatically, though, they will put a fact checker as well on any of your content, or be it photos. Say, for example, you've just posted a status now on anything saying, I've just received a vaccine, etc., etc. He'll have something on that as well. I've seen it happen.
What fact check do we have?
It just says that the vaccine is safe, the vaccine has been tested and trialed. All that will pop up underneath it.
Under our videos?
Not under anything we've put up. If we were to have anything related to that word,
I'm with you.
then
the first
like
one of
this
those.
video now.
The first one of those I saw was 9/11 one. Funny enough, the banners under it when I was goosing 9/11 videos.
you'll notice that's going to happen as we sort of move further into this Orwellian state, as they call it. You'll really notice that will start happening a lot more.
It's a natural reaction.
What's that, sorry?
It's a natural thing. We're in the misinformation age. Like everybody's fucking just spouting shit. First time I saw it was on Trump's Twitter.
Yes. Yeah.
That's right, yeah. You'll see it far more, though, so get used to it. Like your Olympic is happening.
Throughout the American election, there was, on every video to do with Trump and all that, there was just stuff at the bottom about fact-checking. And it's like, when Trump said that the election was rigged and all this stuff, or if there was any videos that were claiming that this is evidence that the elections were rigged, then there would be a fact-check underneath saying the election wasn't rigged.
That's right.
Yeah, but that's
reasons,
just like your
would,
opinion, man.
It would be like these claims are unsubstantiated or whatever. You'd be like, actually, Trump is literally talking out of his ass.
But like, without getting too far into this now, like, who watches the Watchmen? Who fact checks the fact checkers? They're biased. They've got bias within their hearts, like, son.
Need the Justice League, we do, son.
We do need the Injustice League. Social injustice warriors.
Who watches the Watchmen? It's very, very true. Still, even to this day, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Captain Alan Moore.
I talking of like some news. It's not fake news, but did you know that Belgium has gotten bigger?
Bigger?
They're eating too much
how
chocolate.
In terms of
land size? They've just claimed a few feet of land from France.
Okay.
Good on them.
So
did they ask?
Netherlands, maybe.
No, they didn't ask. So a Belgian farmer who's the French Belgian borders marked out by some stones which were put there fucking donkeys years ago, and this farmer said that this one stone was it is sort of in the way of his farming, so he moved it. Unbeknownst to him, he moved a stone that grew Belgium by a few feet, and it caused it's got the potential to cause an international incident because Belgium are claiming land that's not theirs. But the funny thing is that the laws state that if something isn't done about this soon, which it will, they'll just move it back. There's a dormant society. Hang on, let me find it. It's here somewhere.
Dormant society.
So there's
It sounds like a plot to a broken sword game.
So local Belgian authorities plan to contact the farmer to ask him to return the stone to its original origin. If that does not happen, the case could end up at the Belgian Foreign Ministry, which would have to summon a Franco-Belgian border commission dormant since 1930. How fucking mental is that?
Wow.
All because he moved a
stone. We talking about an extra 3 foot of land or something, are we?
Yeah, I think so. It's not much, like.
Talking about 3 foot, I reckon, are we?
The two countries have moved 7.5 feet. There we go.
Christ. So that's how you do it. Start small.
Start small.
There'll be an all-out war between north of France and south of Belgium. They'll be firing like 20-year-old bottles of lambic at each other.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't jeopardise my Lachuf, son, I'll be alright.
Nice. So, speaking of YouTube and his censorship, I know Burra has been keeping his eye on some fella from YouTube.
Hey up.
I certainly have.
Do you want to give us a bit of Skrilla, a bit of scran on that, son?
If I'm honest with you, I don't even know where to begin with it. I don't even know how I found it. I don't even know.
That's a question I was saving for the cast. Where did you find this? Because it's everywhere now, but you seem to get in at the ground level on this.
I was in very early on in it. I believe it was just recommended to me based on the kind of stuff I watch, perhaps.
That just asked more questions.
Was it just like loads of Wildest and Pet and stuff like that? Just reruns of that, and basically.
Yeah, sort of like British comedy, sort of like your Partridge, your Peter Kays, and things, fart jokes and things, and
And this fella's been compared to Peter Kay by a lot of his commenters, I've noticed.
Really?
Yeah.
Even I myself compared him to Peter Kay in an offhanded comment. So.
Someone commented on it, like, I know it all, and they were like, oh, this is actually Peter Kay's cousin, and I'm like, no, it's not. Anyway, the person we are talking about is Danny. Just to re-clarify, Danny, and this is a channel called Rate My Takeaway. Now, surprisingly, it really has not hit the mainstream media yet. It hasn't.
By the time this cast
none of
is
your
released.
sort of like online sort of lad type things have picked up on it. Neither does things like This Morning sometimes picks up on internet trends like that, or other sort of online media as well. Then no one seems to have picked up on it yet.
Son, are you saying this is a SteegCast scoop? Have we just got a scoop?
Technically, but the level of growth on this gentleman is absolutely insane, to the point where I started tracking it, and like earlier on he's probably had at least 4,000 more views or subscribers than when I last checked. I found the gentleman when he was on just on 3,000 views, and I'm just looking
subscribers.
At 3,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't forget to click the bell.
And yeah, and I just looking at some of my notes and things, and it's crazy. I mean, he put a video out. He probably even had more views than this now, but he put a video out 2 hours ago, and he had 25,000 views in that space of time. And when I noticed this fella, he was only on 3,000. And when was this? This was a few weeks back, maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that. I'm gonna have to check in real time, because every time I look and take a note of what his actual subscription level is at, he's doubled by at least 5,000 more in an hour.
That's
or
actually
so.
his calorie count. It's not his
For example, then earlier on he was on 100. When I spoke to Richard earlier, he was on like 147,000 subscribers, and this was a few hours ago, and now he's on 152,000. So for the benefit of the tape, though, because I haven't actually explained what he does, he's a man from the sort of Leeds area, possibly up north, and
Yorkshire general area.
He will drive around to various takeaways that are known for doing sort of something a little bit out of the ordinary normally, like a big breakfast or a big dinner, and he'll go and try these. Obviously at the moment, because of COVID restrictions and stuff, he sets up a little plastic table, and he'll sit there. But this is the beauty of it, and I think this is why people have taken to him so much. He will sit down and he'll pull his little plastic table out and things, and he'll get stuck in, and we're talking huge portions. We're talking massive portions. Now the first one I saw of him, which really sort of did it for me, was he had a Sunday dinner takeout, and he was literally sat at the side of the road, basically in the pouring down rain.
That's my favourite. It's my favourite one.
Yeah, it's honestly, I do it
So
no
weird.
justice, but it's incredible. Grandma's Kitchen, then.
That's a good one.
That's his most viewed video, isn't it?
That's his most viewed video, yeah.
That
is
was the
his
first.
most
When do they
viewed
want to
video.
have him on this morning?
I'm just
or
checking the
whatever,
view
pushing
count
this
on Grandma's Kitchen, actually.
unhealthy agenda.
Grandma's Kitchen had 1 million views within 2 weeks.
It was the first video to the mill. I know that.
Yeah, 1 million views within 2 weeks. Grandma's Kitchen. I'm
She got
looking.
reported to
I'm just
environmental
looking
health.
to when he said he had. There
Really?
was a time
Off the back
when
of that. Yeah.
there was a time when he celebrated having. Yeah, there we go. Right
Good
on the
speech.
23rd, on the 23rd of last month, right? He celebrated having 10,000 subscribers. Okay, and on the 24th, which was the next day, he had 20,000. So can you see the kind of growth I'm getting at? But on the 26th, then, which was a few days later, he had 60,000.
No, that's a
So-
that's a bloody
Yeah, so
gap, that is.
Just going faster than his belt size, son.
Just to re-clarify, on the 23rd, he had 10,000 subscribers, and on the 26th, he had 60,000 subscribers. So it's absolutely insane. And I made a note, as I say, at the time of researching, going back in to have a look at everything earlier, he only had 149,000 subscribers at the time, and now he's got 152,000. So the growth is incredible. And some people have said things like he's the fastest growing sort of non-celebrity to reach these sort of levels.
Which isn't true.
Mr. Creosote, isn't he?
It's not true, no, but
it's not true, no.
He's certainly amongst that category, at least.
It harks back to the glory days of YouTube, doesn't it? Where like your average man on the street can like blow up like talking about the most asinine shit.
No, this is what appeals to me about Danny. He's very sort of normal, humble, very nice man, and you know,
there's no Zoe Sugg, is he?
There's no smoke and mirrors there. There's nothing fancy. He's just a fella who enjoys his food. He's trying new things, and he's telling people about what he's eating.
But the Walk Left won't have him, son. They won't have him on this morning with Holly Willoughby because like he's not doing like mindfulness and lockdown yoga and all this shit.
Very surprised.
Are you mental, son? He's got a body positive image around him. He's proud to be a strong, independent, fat man.
I'm very surprised that no one has picked up on him. I really am. I think it is as you said though. He's just, you know, he's a
good boy. Likes his tendies. Good boy, isn't he?
He's just a normal, likeable man. He's a normal character. He's just a normal fella.
Him and Ollie Willoughby having a race to who can down a foot-long hot dog the fastest.
Oh my god!
Getting mustard and onions all over a jumper, bless her. Be lovely when I see that, smashing it down.
You don't see stuff like this though. In today's age, you don't see stuff like this. Everything is reaction videos. It's TikTok dancing. It's vloggers, these bloggers and stuff. To me, as he said, this does really bring it back to the sort of old days of YouTube. And
he's vlogging, only he's vlogging. He's vlogging his dinner.
Yeah. He's vlogging, yeah. And in some ways, you could argue that there was a reaction as well because he's reaction to the dinner.
Yeah, it is.
But it's not a reaction video. I could really go off on one about reaction videos. I've seen things recently where
you did last time. It was your last subject for Weird Internet.
There's like people who are reacting to music videos that have been out like 30 years, like things like Oasis Wonderwall was one. There's somebody reacting to like the Prodigy's Firestarter that was uploaded a few days ago, and it's got like 200,000 views in like 2 days. And all it is somebody putting the Prodigy's Firestarter on and going, and they'll pause it and they'll go, okay, right, oh, okay.
I got some facts about
I see where they're getting there yet. I'm just going to pause it again a second. All right, okay. So, yeah, I can totally see this. They'll pause it again. And that is it. And they're getting hundreds of thousands of views just from doing it. I could do that. Does anybody want to see me do that? I can do it if you want me to do it. You can comment below. And that's what people are watching and are loving. And it's thousands and thousands of views on that. And that's, to me, that's not content at all. That is lazy content. It is nothing creative at all about watching something from the past, which, with all due respect, everybody has seen most of this stuff now. And the fellas that are doing it, they're like 20s to 30s or something. You should have seen these videos by now. You're reacting to stuff for the first time. You know what I mean? It's no one wants to see it.
It's an awful music video as well, Firestarter. Terrible.
But that's just one of many. There's some of the things that people...
I linked to one which was the Kids Are Alright by The Offspring. And the guy reacting to that. You're thinking, that song's like 20 years old.
That's another one, yeah. There is so many examples of reacting to things which pretty much everybody has seen. You name it, right? There's somebody reacting to it.
I've seen this one guy and it's like hip hop head reacts to metal and he's listening to Mushroom Head, which is like rap metal.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, this is so intense. It's like, man, it's literally rapping with metal over it.
It's when they react to bands like Slipknot and stuff like that. You think
the mainstream bands.
Yeah, it's like you know, come on, like you heard Slipknot before, even if it's just in passing. You've heard it before. I can't believe that you haven't.
Hip hop fan listens to Death Grips for the first time. We're a hip hop band.
Swear Death Grips is deaf, man.
It
like
started.
Literally deaf.
Yeah, it's great, man.
I'm gonna pull it back from Weird Internet too because I feel like we've
we're doing the time.
We've jumped back in time a bit.
Going back to Danny, if we could though, I've not seen anybody with this level of growth in a long time on this type of video. I really haven't, and it's really impressed me. And I've enjoyed personally just watching just the growth of it. Like I've literally watched him come from a few thousand to this, and it's insane. And I am surprised that no one else has really picked up, to my knowledge, that no one else has really picked up. I was expecting him to be on TV or something, or an interview perhaps by now, that kind of thing.
So
and,
do you know much about the gap?
He reminds me of the episode of The Simpsons where Homer becomes a food critic. And he, that's the one. And basically he becomes a food critic, and every place he goes to he loves, and he writes about it because every food he has is good. Homer just likes everything. There's nothing he doesn't like. And it's only when the food, like another food critic tells him, you got to write some negative reviews, and then he becomes like the arsehole basically. But obviously Danny is just Homer in his first phase, where he literally doesn't dislike anything and he just likes everything.
I don't know. He does. He does. I think he does sort of say, "Oh, this mash isn't so. This could be a bit whatever." Or,
yeah.
No, he does.
Mash,
but
like.
I mean, if you
one bad review.
If you were to literally just look at the timeline of the growth of this fella, it's just absolutely insane. For the benefit of the tape, Richard is going to put some screen dumps in where it's going to go pop, pop, pop. Yeah, but if you were to look at the timeline of this fella's growth, it's just absolutely insane, to the point where I started making notes of it, and it was just absolutely impossible to keep up with. Absolutely impossible to keep up with. I
wonder if there's a reality that's like parallel to ours, where this guy is the ruler of the three worlds.
Could well be.
Just run out there.
Yeah, I mean, he's based. Long story short, he's getting like 100,000 views within the space of about a few hours of uploading it, basically. And
where do you think it's going? Where do you think the end result is?
Where is it going?
It's
early death.
It's growing, absolutely growing by the day. I think that he will start when restrictions lift and stuff.
So
I think
bad.
he start. I think you start venturing out of Wales when's he going
to come to Sat Charles Pork Store and get a veal palm sandwich?
To Europe and America and all sorts. I think.
You do have to say though, Guy, like it hasn't been just an instant growth. It wasn't like an overnight success. He did start like 8 or 9 months ago, didn't he?
Danny originally started doing his videos like fucking 9 or 10 months ago.
Yeah, but it was the grandma's kitchen one that they blew it up.
I bet there was like, so if you go all the way back, there's like, I don't know how many, like 3 or 4, 5, 6 or 7, and it stops, and there's like a 9-month gap. And then he comes back with like, it wasn't I don't know if it was the granny one, but it was one of those.
He
first
came
ones
back.
then.
He came back with.
It just blew up out of nowhere.
He came back with the grandma's kitchen one. He did.
That was the first one to 1 million as well. So good thing he did.
I honestly don't know what to say on it though. I'll be honest with you. I really don't know. I don't know what to say on that.
I think the appeal of the Grandma's Kitchen one to a lot of people probably was the title itself. It's
Granny's garden, is
it? It was literally out of a woman's house. He went to a woman's house and got food, and then set his table up outside a window and ate a meal in the middle of the fucking street.
Yeah, that's the bit that got me. It was just this massive guy just sitting in the middle of the street, like on a pavement, just taking up like literally more than half the pavement with his circumference. Like,
I do wonder whether there's going to come a time where like the police are going to move him on.
Somebody reported the grandma woman though, didn't they? Do you remember?
Yeah, Sean. Yeah.
Yeah. She got reported to environmental health. Well, it was bullshit. Actually, they said that he'd gone inside the house, and that's how they breached the rules. But I mean, there's no law stopping him sitting on the pavement eating it.
Yeah,
you know,
no.
It is a bit weird.
It's quite a dodgy thing to do, really, isn't it?
He's literally sitting outside the living room window, though. That's the weird thing.
No, but like to report her, like, you know, it's a really dodgy thing to do.
That must have been a neighbour, obviously. That a jealous neighbour.
Yeah, either that or like a disgruntled business. They're like can't open and they're losing money, so they're like, oh fuck her for taking my custom. Kind of be like going behind old granny and putting a knife in her back, but you can't because it's social distancing, so he's not allowed in her house to do that.
She wasn't even that old, man.
Can't reach with a knife.
When I said grandma's kitchen, I was expecting some old woman. Like.
That's it. Like, you know, I was a bit disappointed in the lack of greys.
Yeah, but
she died her hair. Yeah. Or she just weren't granny. I don't know, one or the other.
What I'm finding at the moment though is it's really difficult to keep up with him. He's putting a lot of content out. Like
he is 2 a day, innit?
Yeah, and if I go a day without seeing one, I've missed 2. If I go another day, there's 4. So it's difficult to keep up with. Like you've got to constantly keep watching them every day, or you know you've got about 8 or 9 built up or whatever.
When I started watching them, there weren't any adverts, but apparently they're cropping up a bit more now.
That's a tangent we could spin on to next.
You can't necessarily blame him for trying to capitalise on something that's rising like that.
Because we would do the same. Absolute scumbags would do the same.
If anything, I hope he's done right for himself for this and
I said
can provide for his family well and Yeah.
No,
I was gonna say I didn't realize we had ads on our videos.
no, we don't. We don't have ads. Not that I'm aware of.
When I listen back to our cast, I listen to it on Spotify. I don't watch YouTube.
Yeah, if we do have any ads, let us know because we're not getting any money for them.
Sometimes if you're like, I found this out with my Lines in Wax video I did on Scorn. If you're flagged for having copyrighted content,
you'll have it.
The distributor or whatever then can put ads in to support those. Like, so in this case, it was
Really?
they flagged out of. To be fair, I've always thought YouTube's algorithm was really smart. Out of a discography video that probably plays about 30 Scorn tracks in 10 to 15 second snippets, it picked up on one of them, and it tied it back to this publisher, this label, and it puts ads in the video for those. Well, not for those, but the revenue from the ads goes to those copyright owners of the music. And they've commented on my video saying, yeah, that wasn't us, it's our distributor. Like, well, you're clearly paying his distributor to protect your digital content, so don't try and fucking weasel out of it. You know, you're not stealing ad revenue from me, but you know, I do have a copyright claim against the video, which sucks. You know, it's on the SteegCast one too. You've got that copyright claim. It's never going to be able to monetize that.
On the Alex band when we got a copyright claim, that's for using music, which we had verbal permission to use, but it's just YouTube's algorithm. But on the tangent of copyright claim, something interesting happened on the subject of this. I'm glad you brought it up. AEW, All Elite Wrestling, their YouTube channel, they own sort of flagging software that flags like videos up all over YouTube basically for copyright infringement of their shows. Went crazy and flagged
I know where this is going.
And flagged a ton of like sort of independent wrestling blogs, vlogs, videos, including their own channel got hit with it as well. AEW's official channel got hit with like hundreds and thousands of copyright claims all over YouTube. It also included like wrestlers' vlogs. So like the wrestlers obviously have permission to show their own matches and all this stuff, and that was flagged with copyright claim, and the videos were taken down and everything like that. And it was all because of a software glitch, basically, because of that one thing. I don't know what exactly happened, but they apologized for it profusely because they said
someone got fired.
Someone must have, but like they got it was like a lot of, because there's a lot of wrestling YouTube channels out there, and a lot of them got flagged content. A lot of them got content removed, you know, just forcefully, and they profusely apologized, saying it was a massive glitch because they've never done it before. Like they've always let people use a decent amount of material, not all of it, but fair use and whatnot. But yeah,
that's what they get.
Pretty mad, like.
It's like someone accidentally leant on the dial and knocked it up to 12 on the, knocked it into super vigilant mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does your subject now, does that tie into the YouTube kind of bit, Sean, or was it a bit off track?
I do have a bit on where it does tie in with YouTube's algorithm to detect content. It's a rough segue, but I'll take a segue if you're taking us along. If you're chuffing it along.
Yeah, good God, are you feeling links in? Go for it, son.
Yeah, I'll do it. Right, so my weird internet segment is on. It's going to be on peer-to-peer file sharing. I've started this whole thing where I'm looking back at stuff from the past, like last time I did MySpace. First time I did furries because I kind of didn't prepare. I didn't really know what to do, and I was like, weird internet subculture, furries, just do them. So peer-to-peer, everyone knows what peer-to-peer is, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You do. Everyone does. Of a certain generation. You may see my glasses have now lit up because I've got my script in front of me. But yeah, so peer-to-peer file sharing is it was something that was popularized in 1999 by Napster. You may have heard of Napster. Might not have used Napster, but basically Napster was like an audio sharing application. So we're going way back now, before any streaming shit, before Spotify, before Netflix, even before YouTube. So in like the 90s, Napster had a website, and you could download software that you could share audio files directly with other people. So basically, without getting too technical, peer-to-peer, what peer-to-peer file sharing is, when you traditionally upload a file to the internet for someone to download, you have to upload it to like a server or a host or whatever. So you upload the file then someone else has a separate action of downloading that file from that location. Whereas with P2P, it cuts out that middleman, and basically it puts you on like a platform where you could communicate directly with other people who have the files you want, and you can just download directly from their computer. Your download becomes an upload for them, and so on. It's like kind of like, it's not like BitTorrent actually, but it gets thrown in with BitTorrent a lot, but it's not the same thing. So let's think. If I remember, when you had like Kazaa or LimeWire or Napster or any of these things, like you would have, like, when you installed it, you'd have to set up a folder, like a shared folder that you would you would define as the one that you want to share, and anything you put in there would be as long as you were logged in, it would be publicly available to anybody who's searching on, like, whatever network you're on. So say Burra buys an album back in the day, like say the critically acclaimed "Break the Cycle" by Stained, and he rips it onto his computer.
Yeah, that would have been around that time. Yeah, no, it would
exactly,
have been.
Yeah, this way before streaming. Now, you iTunes existed.
It's been a while, son.
But you could buy individual songs on iTunes for 99 pence at the time. That was the only like digital platform really, and things like that. So you'd buy your CD, you'd put it in your computer, you'd rip the songs off there into iTunes or onto Windows Media Player or any MP3 software you had, and you'd put it on your iPod. You know what I mean? But if he put those files in a folder in his Kazaa folder, or pointed Kazaa at his music folder, the whole world could fucking see it. And I could log into my Kazaa or LimeWire or whatever fucking software I was using, and I could type in Stained Break the Cycle, because I was looking for that fantastic album off the strength of the It's Been a While single, and
Great album.
it would come up. It would come up, or anybody else who had that, and it was online, it would come up in the list, and you could literally just click on it, and it would start downloading. And the reason I'm going to go into this a bit is because, I suppose music's always been a huge part of my life and our life, and that's probably why a lot of what I was doing on the internet in my youth was music related. So like Kazaa for me, not Napster. Napster went under very quickly in 2001. Massive lawsuit. I never used Napster. It was before my time. They had a massive lawsuit against them. They got sued, and they shut down. Interestingly as well, Napster only allowed audio files to be traded back and forth. So it wasn't like a fully fledged thing. When Napster fell, you had other companies which instantly picked up the baton. The most popular one being LimeWire. Or if you were in the UK or Europe, Kazaa was probably the most popular software. Interestingly, the people who made Kazaa went on to create Skype, which is something I didn't know until today.
That's mad.
Three Scandinavian dudes, which I can't even say their names. But yeah, there was fucking loads of these bumping around. You had like BearShare, SoulSeek, ShareAzar, WinMX, iMesh, FrostWire, Emu, eDonkey 2000. Just shitloads of them. But so whereas Napster only allowed audio, these other ones allowed anything to be shared, any files of any nature. You could see where this could go drastically wrong. But the reason I picked this is because it was how I discovered so much music. You know what I mean? I'd read about a band in Kerrang. I'd just be like,
yeah, exactly.
Typing it in, download,
Same.
Download the, it was before fucking YouTube. It was before MySpace. It was before, any streaming service. And it was part of the, it was a bit later on than the initial wild west of the internet. But like, it was in a time where like the people were ahead of the corporations, as it were, Everyone was, it was just a free for all. Everyone was just fucking swapping everything around and downloading whatever they wanted. There's nothing anybody could do about it. It was a good time. It was a good time.
It really was a good time.
Not for the artists.
It was before, no. Well, it wasn't even that. It was not for the fucking labels.
It was the labels, yeah. The artists weren't getting anything. Well, they were, but not an awful lot.
In terms of musical discovery, though, it was an incredible time.
Because it was cool, like you said, because you could view that person's library of. So if you downloaded like I remember downloading Papa Roach when I was younger, and think, I really like Papa Roach, and then I go to see who I downloaded that from, and then I just have a look at their other thing and just download a shitload of other things, and then I discover loads of bands I never would have discovered otherwise, because I thought that he would have similar music. Didn't always work out that way, but there was a lot of examples where it did work out for the best, like in that sense. But my dad introduced me to Napster. I used Napster when it was at his pomp, like.
I don't know how common it was, but I used to like download songs or albums, and they'd be like sneaky songs from different bands or like from local bands in like that area, just smuggled in.
We're jumping ahead of my script. Yes, that was my next thing. So the issue is, right, everything's in. There's there were regulations on it, but it was so rudimentary. Kazaa is still closed source now. No one knows how Kazaa worked. But they had a thing where it was supposed to match files. They would check them if they were legit. But yeah, the most common and innocuous issue was you'd like be downloading a Slipknot song, and the metadata was either accidentally or purposefully all fucked up. When you get the file, it's not Slipknot, it's some bullshit like Static X featuring Spine Shank. And when you actually play the fucking song, it's Mudvayne. You know what I mean?
It was a lot of things,
which was funny.
A lot of things wrongly labelled as people
Exactly.
who would think it was a certain band.
Exactly.
But it wasn't. That's what I found as well. Covers and stuff. There were a lot of do you know, like pop punk covers and stuff and things?
Yeah.
A lot of covers were labelled as the wrong band. I used to find that, definitely.
You'd have bands putting their stuff up as like Slipknot, so people would download it, and it'd be a different band, but no one would know who the band was.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
I remember
and
there was a song. Sorry, just to jump in, Sean. There was a song by Motion City Soundtrack called "Everything Is Alright," which is their biggest song. But when they first sort of came out, that song was wrongly labelled as Plus 44, only because Mark Hoppus was the producer of that record, and people thought it was Plus 44 originally. I remember that vividly.
Was Plus 44 actually around that era then? Because
yeah,
in my mind, Plus 44 was a bit later than that.
So it was just as Blink sort of broke up, and the rumours of Plus 44 came out, and they still had a female singer.
That's
Plus
right.
44.
Yeah, Carol somebody.
God.
Yeah, and they didn't even release.
Carol?
They didn't release an album with her. They released one song, didn't they?
She's on the original demo of No It Isn't. At
No, it
least, I
isn't.
remember.
Yeah, pretty good as well. But yeah, they didn't release an album, but that was like marked as an early Plus 44 song, and it wasn't. It was Motion City Soundtrack.
It was also really good for live songs as well. Live songs from bands.
yeah,
Because
if you're a
with
Grateful
Kazaa,
Dead fan, you're living a fucking dream.
Yeah, I had loads of brand new. I remember the brand new had a leaked album. It was pre-master. It was released.
Walking Knife and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was my favourite album. That was Chris Cracking album. But yeah, that's the first time I heard that was via P2P. Like,
They never got an official release, see?
When you say that era, you're saying, you thought Plus 44 was later than that. Just to give you some idea, Napster was 99 to 2001. LimeWire was 2000 to 2010, which is mad and everything.
Yeah, that's...
And Kazaa was 2000 till 2004. It got shut down.
Yeah.
But yeah, it covers like quite a large area. Is Richard still here? I can't see him.
Yeah, Richard's still there.
Yep, so yeah.
There he is. Hey.
You're in your script.
But I am in my script. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, basically going off what you were saying there, but it's you get a file that isn't the file you wanted. That sounds quite harmless, right?
Oh,
but
right.
It could fucking go a bit wrong, couldn't it? So one of the issues that you did have was similar to how companies and record labels and studios will place trackers on torrents and then prosecute anybody with the IP address who downloads that torrent. They had they wouldn't prosecute you, but they would like put copies of files up of artists that they had on their labels, but the file would just be complete garbage when you downloaded it. So
you'd trapped.
Be on your 50. Yeah, essentially, but you'd spend all your 56k, downloading this entire fucking album for hours, and then it'd just be complete trash. You couldn't listen to it. But more serious than that. So what if you're downloading a movie, right? So what if you're downloading?
Would you download a car?
Something? Would you download a car? And this basically that's what those adverts are. Were off the back of peer-to-peer. Obviously, on the peer-to-peer, you'd often get stuff that you didn't want. You'd be downloading New Found Glory, and you'd get Enya. The issue with that, of course, is that it could be a lot more serious than that.
Son, I'd
You know,
pay
you think-
money to your end. You cover Newfound Glory. I won't be honest with you. Like,
Sail Away, son. I reckon Newfound Glory could cover Enya. They could do Sail Away, easy.
yeah.
Yeah, they've done a lot of
show
show
tunes.
covers and whatnot.
Yeah, that's true.
They've released albums or
Sail
stuff.
away, sail away.
From your screen to your stereo. Parts 1 and 2. Have they done 3? Was it just 2?
3 as well, isn't
It's
it?
3. It's 3, isn't it?
I think.
Oh yeah, they have. Because they got Frozen on there and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the third one. Yeah, tangent. Go on, Sean. Sorry.
Not a problem, son. Not an issue. You carry on. But yeah, so of course you download something, you don't know what it is until it comes on your computer. So the thing is, right? The issue is
right.
you could download something. What it is, right? These things were rife with viruses because if you didn't have antivirus like Norton or McAfee, you know, chances are you're going to download something that was not what it says it was. You're downloading like, you know, the Smiths live, and you end up with a fucking Trojan, you know, something like that, or even worse. You know, you're typing in
Cheese pizza.
what? A large soda and a cheese pizza at Panucci's where I used to work.
Would you download a pizza?
Would you download a pizza?
Oh, guys.
Where are all the 3 cheese pizzas?
Oh, guys.
I ate those foods.
If the conspiracy theorists nuts get their hands on this episode, we are fucked.
Yeah, I thought you might have been doing Pizzagate, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to bring it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you're downloading like the Pizza Tramp record, and you actually get is porn, or you actually going on to download porn. So you want to download a full-length pornographic movie like Pirates 2: Stagnetti's Revenge, or Deep Throat, or Behind the Green Door, and instead of like these classy 70s or early 2000s, in the case of Pirates 2, porn movies, you actually get child porn. Do you know what I mean? What happens then? You know, you get a Rickroll, you get a virus, or you get child pornography, or something that you're never meant to download. Well, you know, what do you do in that situation? This was the problem with
You
peer-to-peer
probably
file share.
sweat. Quite a
The
bit.
famous case of it,
Yeah.
a lot of people got arrested for child porn through P2P because, you know, they were downloading child porn. But there's a famous case, I can't remember the name of the guy, but he was arrested by the FBI for downloading child pornography off
Guy
LimeWire.
Glitter was a song.
This guy swore blind. He downloaded a porno like mega pack. They used to do these mega packs like zip files, just loaded with like 1,000 images of insert genre of pornography or whatever, you know.
That's like
1,000 BDSM.
surely anyone with a mind would say that is incredibly risky, just in itself.
Yeah, but
like, you know,
we're talking early 2000s now. You know, crazy. You know,
I can think of an example myself.
heyday of the internet.
I once thought, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this because I'll get done for downloading illegal stuff. I once downloaded a popular animated American sitcom episode, and I actually got a pornography version of it.
Cracking.
Yeah, like a live action pornography version of this very popular American show,
My Little Pony.
which I may or may not have downloaded. I probably shouldn't be saying this, so just forget the entire conversation. But that happened though. I accidentally got full-blown pornography of, and for the first few seconds, I thought, oh, this is a cool intro. They've done like a live action thing of it, and then genuine now. And then as it kicked in, I was like, shit, what's going on? About yeah, that happened. Maybe around 8, 9, 10 years ago, it happened.
Are you ready to insert
But,
my little penis? Are you ready to receive?
But yeah, it was,
Jesus.
Yeah, risky times of the internet, mind that was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
that could.
Some risky
I
clicks.
can see how that can happen though. I can easily see how something could be wrapped up in something else, and you.
So the main issue was you get viruses, or you could have something completely illegal.
Trojan
like
horse
gore,
essentially was getting.
or child porn. This guy, he said he downloaded this mega pack of pornographic images, which, unknowns to him, contained, child pornography. He immediately deleted the child pornography and kept the rest of it. And the FBI arrested him a year later.
Oh, rough.
And they managed to recover the deleted files as well. So he was boned. But, I don't know where I'm going with this. How am I going? Let's have a look. So going back to what I was saying about YouTube and how this relates to YouTube. Kazaa got shut down. They only lasted till 2004. They kept getting lawsuits, and they just went, fuck this, and then they closed down. But LimeWire and many of the smaller ones stayed up and running. And LimeWire was getting a lot of heat for obviously allowing this to go on, kind of like Mega Upload was, and they prosecuted that guy. But what they did was to try and stave off the lawsuits from all these record labels and stuff like that. They wrote like some code into LimeWire at one point that would identify, kind of like Shazam does or whatever, that thing with a phone, and kind of like a YouTube content ID scans your videos. Is really like primitive version of that. So what would happen then? It would detect that, and it would stop the upload, and you wouldn't be allowed to upload. You just grey out your file. You wouldn't be allowed to upload it. And that caused that LimeWire to drop its user base massively. Even though it wasn't super effective, it did catch a lot of the more well-known stuff, and it did affect the usage numbers. It had a splinter, there was one called FrostWire, which splintered off. Then at that point, some devs made FrostWire. Basically, they stripped LimeWire back to its original code without this like feature on it. So that's it, just kind of evolved from there. I don't know what's happened to FrostWire, if it's still running or not. I don't know. Probably not. But they were the only worst enemy. Like the funny thing is, you could get like Kazaa Gold, which was the paid version of it. You could also get LimeWire Pro or whatever. You could get them on. You could download Kazaa and then download Kazaa Gold off Kazaa. It was fucking great, man. But so I mean, what happened there is, like, I think even though LimeWire went till 2010, a lot of the others kind of bowed out a lot earlier than that. I think before they did actually die a death with lawsuits and prosecutions and all this, I think people just moved away from file sharing.
Did Spotify kind of come from the ashes of any of this, or is
I think it did.
Yeah.
I think whether they know it or not, I think stuff like Spotify, Netflix, shit like that, was a reaction to this. There was no way to control the digital distribution of.
How can we monetize
files.
This?
Yeah, just the more regulated platforms. Yeah.
Like the consumer was ahead of the corporation in this case. Like they hadn't caught up with A, the power of the internet, and B, like, I mean, I guess in a way they kind of knew about it, because you had a similar reaction to how you could copy CDs and tapes in the late 80s and the early 90s. Like you see, like, I got some old albums where it's like tape trading is killing music and shit like that, you know what I mean? Because people would lend tapes and copy them, or you'd copy music off the radio, or you'd buy a CD and copy it onto a tape and give a tape to your and people were like, oh, that's labels were like, that's killing music, man. The music industry is going to go under, and obviously it never fucking didn't. So tape trading and stuff like that in the 80s and 90s was how you discovered new music. And then like in the 2000s, you had like peer-to-peer stuff and the internet. I mean, I've definitely poured my fair share of money into musicians. Like, so I don't feel too bad about file sharing, but yeah, I see where they were going with it, but they weren't up with the technology. The technology was ahead of the game, as it were. And I don't fucking give a shit about Epic Records or whatever losing out a few bob. Like, I don't give a fuck, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go on a Bandcamp now. Some fucking artist like in, I don't know, some guy from Cardiff who's like bought a few fucking, synthesizers, and he's made some nice music and put it on Bandcamp, and I'm going to go up and fucking rip it all off there onto my phone. It wouldn't anyway. You know what I mean? And there's no incentive to anymore, because you just do that legally with Spotify.
Yeah.
And you pay them fucking literally fractions of a penny to listen to their music. No one owns music anymore. And that's why you get this like void in digital music, where you either stream it or you just buy a physical copy now. So we get the resurgence of physical copies, like vinyl most prevalent, but like CDs is not far behind, and even tapes, not a plug. Even tapes are coming back in a much smaller way. But anyway, wrapping this up so I can close my bit. Peer-to-peer kind of completely died in 2010 when LimeWire got done over by the RIAA, Record Industry Association of America, who took them to court claiming, this is the best bit, they claimed $150,000 US for every instance.
Oh, no.
So that's not song. Every instance of illegal file sharing of a song owned by an RIAA backed record label.
I bet
So
that
that's basically
figure
every
is
major label.
Yeah, that figure is insurmountable. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
It's impossible to calculate, but there was some, for the purposes of the trial, someone estimated it at $75 trillion, which was at the time more money than is in the entire world. So they got like laughed out of court, but eventually LimeWire settled up and they paid $105 million across all the labels, and they were shut down by the government in America. And yeah, so you can still get peer-to-peer software, but SoulSeek's still going as far as I know.
How did LimeWire make their buns? How did LimeWire and all that? How did they make their money?
I don't know. I was thinking this. So where did
Not
they get
an
105
advert,
million?
Did they have adverts?
Well, this is it.
Not
They
that I
did
can
have
remember.
adverts. Kazaa and stuff had adverts. I can't remember if LimeWire had
What,
adverts.
banner adverts or like audio?
Banners and stuff,
Banners.
yeah. Banners and shit. Banners, yeah.
I remember, like,
But,
I used to, like, when I download an artist, if I downloaded an album and I really liked it, I would actually go out and buy the physical album. That's, like, something that I used to do when I was doing that stuff back in the
I think
day.
a lot- A lot of people didn't know, I think, is the problem.
Yeah.
Well, what you got to think about with stuff like that is they're on about is killing the musicians and the music and all that. But musicians make their money from merch anyway. You know, the main protocol
These
for
days,
money is
yeah.
T-shirts and the like.
I
you
think
know?
I think the point was back then it was the labels that were missing out. It was the
Yeah.
companies.
Yeah,
that
it was the
Exactly.
labels that were missing out.
And the
Absolutely.
labels
It wasn't the
can't miss out,
musicians that
can
were
they?
missing out.
Yeah, and like you
Yeah.
said, the bands always make money from merch and all that stuff. But it's more like I remember going to a New Found Glory gig, and they said then they were like, "We don't care if you've illegally downloaded our songs, just as long as you like them, and like if you like buy a T-shirt or something like that, we're happy. That's it, you know."
Fair.
They honestly like that, and like you said, it's weird, but the music that made the band now isn't the thing that makes the money technically. Like
Yeah,
it is, but it
strange,
isn't.
like.
You know.
I remember hearing a story of like Glenn Benton. Some metalheads will know Glenn Benton is. He's the lead singer of Deicide, and he got stopped with by some police. I can't remember which country he was in. He got stopped doing on tour, and he had like thousands of euros in his pocket, and they thought he was like a drug dealer or something. They didn't know what he was doing in this country with all this money. It was merch money from the merch stand, and he was going to the bank to put it in the bank, and they arrested him and they held him for fucking like 3 days or something
Oh.
ridiculous. I need to Google that because there was a lot. And what hit this home for me with how much money artists can make off merch if they're independent and they own all their merch and stuff is there's a YouTube interview with Violent J from Insane Clown Posse. Now they're completely independent. They have their own label. They sign all their own artists. They book their own tours. Everything. And he's saying like people shit on like Psychopathic Records artists. Like these rappers ain't shit. They don't mean nothing. But he's like, we just signed a guy. He sold 60,000 records or whatever, or 6,000 records rather. Sorry, something like this. And you think that ain't nothing, but like he's selling them at like $10-15 each. We're getting all that money. That guy's moved out of the hood. He's put his mother in a new house. He's got a new car. He's living the fucking dream. Like, so fuck what you think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, he's made it. And I'm like, that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
You imagine making that much money off fucking. Do you know what I mean?
That
Yeah,
just
that's
goes to
awesome.
show how much record labels were cutting artists like back in the day. Artists were getting
Yeah, exactly.
5%? Was it like it was something that small because you had
Ridiculous.
you had the label, you had the manager, you had the PR,
The publisher.
It was literally everything just on after the other was cutting into your income from your album sales and stuff like
Death
that.
by a Thousand Cuts, like.
And they will own that music forever.
Yes, yeah.
It's not yours, and you have that. You see this in like even on Spotify now. You go on, you see an artist's discography. There's gaps because some labels are like not willing to license it, or let it go, or whatever, or they want to repress their record. So you got signed to you were an independent band with a nice cult following. You got signed to a major. It didn't work out. You dropped off the major, and you're like, that album's long out of print, and now you're like. You got a good following. You're like, I want to reissue that album, and they're like, no, we're not fucking fuck it, we don't care about it. We're going to sell it back to you or whatever.
Well, look at the whole story with Alex. Rich, that was Elvis story, wasn't it? That was Elvis story he was telling us with his trying to get his solo album done and whatnot. And Christ,
If anyone's interested in that conversation with Alex Band, you can find Gareth's interview with himself somewhere.
He interviewed himself.
In the
Somewhere
top
around
right hand
Interviewed
corner.
myself.
Gareth interviewed Alex
but,
Band from the Collins somewhere around here.
that's heavily referenced in that, though, what we just spoke of in terms of the whole label control. The fact he he had to more or less bankrupt himself to buy his own music back and things. It's all there. It's all there.
It's the pitfalls.
Give it a watch. Give it a watch.
That's just insane. That's an insane sentence in itself. You
Buy his own
bankrupt yourself
music back.
buying your own music back.
Who is he?
More or less, he did. Yeah, more or less.
I think we mentioned on the cast before about the Beatles buying Michael Jackson tracks.
No, Michael
Michael
Jackson
Jackson buying
All the way
Beatles
around.
tracks.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's just like he's like, oh yeah, I'll get in on this, and
Well, yeah, Paul had
exactly. He then owns the rights to
to, yeah,
the
Paul had to
fucking
buy
songs.
back his songs from Michael Jackson.
It was when
Bob's
they
got
did when Paul did not Ebony and Ivory, when he did The Girl Is Mine, was it? Is that the track he does with Michael, or possibly Stay Stay Stay? Even one of them anyway. One of the tracks he did with Michael, and Michael was like, I'm going to buy your songs, Paul. And he's like, no, you're just messing about, son. And then a couple of days later, he was like, I've just bought all your records. He's like, and I think it was a bit frosty after that, and for many years, well, forever probably.
Understandably.
Understandably.
Oh, Rich, I have a Beatles-related question for you, Rich. I was speaking to Gareth about it the other day, and you hadn't heard of it. But I've been going through Killing Joke's discography recently, and Killing Joke's bass player is in a band or a project with Paul McCartney called The Fireman. Have you ever heard of that before?
New to me, but
I wasn't aware of
Paul
it.
McCartney doing IDM and trance. I'm not joking, man.
I wasn't aware
It's
of
called
it.
The Fireman. They have 3 albums out. So you from Killing Joke and Paul McCartney from the Beatles as a unit called The Fireman.
that's random as fuck. But no,
Yeah,
I
It's
knew that.
mad random. I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's really strange.
I didn't know
I've
that.
been meaning to listen to it. I haven't listened to it yet.
What is that? A crossover episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. It's so obscure. I perhaps a lot of people have just not picked up on it.
That is random. Random as
Mad.
fuck.
So one more bit then on P2P before we trundle on. That's unless you've got anything else to say, Sean. On the
No, I'm done. That's my script, son.
right.
I've done my
Every
bit.
time you mention P2P, right, my mind goes to the show Silicon Valley, which I rewatched the other day, and it's fucking fantastic, right? They're about a compression. I don't know any of this, right? So all of this is jargon to me, right? I just spout the shit, like. But they make a compression company whose algorithm is fastest in Silicon Valley, right? And that's the basis of their business. And eventually, a few seasons down the line, the main guy comes up with the idea of a brand new P2P internet, which is linked through people's phones, right? Which is included in his compression algorithm, so it reduces the size of all the files down, and it's P2P through people's phones. Then this like brand new internet is that viable, or is that just complete bullshit? I'm probably butchering everything the show has said about it, but yeah.
No idea. It's a bit vague. I have
Yeah.
no clue.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I wish I could go into it more. I mean, like the show probably explains it. But
Peer-to-peer still exists in other guises. You have end-to-end encryption now on chats. So that's technically peer-to-peer because it's just your device, my device, like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why WhatsApp web can't work without a connection to your phone because it's that device. It's like you do a secret chat on Telegram. You can only, if you've got Telegram installed on 4 devices, whatever device you open that secret chat with is the only one that will see that conversation because it's end-to-end. It's peer-to-peer with the person you established the
chat with, like.
chat with, yeah, exactly.
Fair. Just curious now. Anyway, watch our show. Right, so moving on, and kind of reverting kindly back to YouTube. I guess. And what I've been looking at is I don't know how to nicely say it, but breakdowns. And more or less the accessibility of breakdowns these days.
And not to do with cars either.
Not to do with cars, even though I'm in insurance. I know guy then gave you a good van quote. Do you want it?
Green flag ain't got shit on this.
Right, so that was the initial idea. Anyway, so what started with that is, I was like, I saw a video of Bam Margera the other day, and he looked pretty down and out. So I thought I'd look into that a bit more. So I just casually YouTube Bam Margera, and most of the top videos are like fluff pieces now, which are like seemingly chronicling his decline in mental health, which is a sad state of affairs, to be honest, at the moment.
Yeah, it's just sad.
And the ones he uploads himself are just basically of him being drunk and being a dick to his wife, like. So I kind of got sucked.
It was
into
funny
the...
when he was beating up his dad, like, but it's just good, you know.
Don Vito's like, hey, you're sick on the head. He's great.
So I like fell into the abyss of Bam Margera's kind of backstory, because I loved, me and Sean, we grew up on Jackass and CKY. I'm not sure about
No,
Rich
I
and
did as
Barrett.
well. And then
without
later
a
on,
doubt.
like Viva La Bam and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely grew up on Jackass. CKY even. We can go further
CKY.
back.
Yeah, CKY 2K.
Go further back. I can remember. I can remember watching the
is the best
CKY
one.
VHSs and stuff. For the benefit of the tape.
VHS?
Literally
Now
for the
you-
benefit
now
of the
you're
tape.
I can remember going over to a
Afghanistan,
friend's house to watch
baby.
Jackass the movie and stuff as well. And like in South Wales, a lot of people would call it Jackass, which is always
Jackass,
quite
yeah.
funny.
So I kind of rolled back, and what I could find is like the beginning of the downward spiral, I suppose, began in 2011 with the death of Ryan Dunn, which was a shocker. Like, it was. It was drunk driving accident. So after that, Bam was obviously devastated. He broke down on camera in like a news interview. He moved into art after that, then just like painting and all that as a kind of escape. So he was drinking heavily to cope with that and the death of Ryan Dunn, and also to help with doing of the Jackass stunts, which I imagine having a few brews before jumping off a building helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
I found it usually does.
generally speaking,
Yeah.
as everyone
I think
knows.
the main. I always found his decline was like they were young and invincible, and now he's old and Ryan Dunn's dead. It's just
mortality is kind of
So
slapped
Ryan
in.
it's
Ryan
like-
Dunn was like his brother, basically, wasn't
Yeah.
he? Because like he
Yeah.
lived, didn't he live with him for a while as well when he was younger?
In CKY, I'm sure he was living
Yeah.
He's
in the
always in the
basement.
house. When he was always in
Yeah.
the house with the family and stuff.
That's it, yeah. So, rolling forward from 2011, we're going to 2017 now. Bam Margera went on Dr. Phil, of all places to go. So
Jeez.
he told the good old doc about his mental breakdown, and they considered suicide. So the doctor put him into a detox facility, but he checked himself out then. Shortly after that, he was arrested by a hotel employee after refusing to leave the property. He told them that he was there to catch a patron's wife having an affair, and he was cuffed for trespassing on that. So, like, why the hell would you go to Dr. Phil unless you're trying to boost your kind of profile? Is
Yeah. Go to a
beyond me,
private
like.
one and then check in privately. And
That's
Perhaps
exactly
it was
it.
only
Yeah.
doctor he knew then.
could have been. The only good doctors. Oh, that Dr. Phil's pretty good.
He must have met a few doctors in his time. Old Bam.
Oh God,
I don't know.
yeah.
When you're in
He
that
always got
circle,
quite off
you know,
scot free, didn't he? He never had any bad injuries. He used some bad injuries in Jackass. Never Bam Margera's
yeah,
one,
I
you know?
suppose physically he never got smashed up.
No, I mean Johnny Knoxville had a few proper
Oh God, I-
close calls.
Hasn't he
Fucking
broken his urethra now?
Yeah.
Johnny Knoxville.
Oh,
Yeah.
was it his? Oh, I thought it was his gooch kind of bit. It was his urethra, was it?
I thought it was his urethra, yeah. And that was like one of the more mundane accidents. Like you say mundane. Fucking like he was jumping, I think, over a
Like a ravine.
He was on a ravine on a bike. And as he landed, it just
I remember, yeah.
crap.
I couldn't recall him being on crutches and stuff for a while and things.
after everything he's done, like literally like he's been fucking nearly impaled by a bull and everything, and that's the thing that fucking
That's what gets
fucks-
him. Yeah.
no, yeah.
That's it.
But there was one in, I think it was in the Jackass movie. I'm sure it was a Jackass movie where I think it's Bam and Knoxville stand in front of the exploding. It's like to disperse crowds of people, and there's like loads of plastic or rubber balls, and they're like explosive, so they explode out and they hit you.
They use them in prisons, is it? Stop
Yeah,
riots.
that's it.
yeah.
And like apparently it's incredibly painful. And Knoxville and Bam said at the time that that's the worst thing they've ever done. I think Ryan
Yeah.
Dunn done it as well. I think it was those three that did it. But
Dunn
yeah,
done it.
it looked awful because
And,
on camera all you see is just a bang, or you hear the bang,
Yeah, you can't.
and then they just
see it.
fall to the ground. You don't see anything, and then they're just writhing in pain on the floor. It's,
say it doesn't translate. It doesn't translate well. Like.
nah.
Right, so Bam got cuffed for trespassing. After that, he was arrested for a DUI, and then he started claiming that he had bipolar disorder. So again, fast forward in January 2018, He's in rehab. He's sober for 7 months until he was held at gunpoint in South Africa. And this was news to me. I didn't know about this one.
I didn't know about this one, no.
So in August, he was traveling alone in Colombia. I mean,
Fucking
come on. Yeah. He was robbed during a cab ride from the airport. The taxi driver pulled a gun out, put it on his own lap, used his mobile phone to translate, empty your wallet, and then bam, had to fork over $500. Like,
I can imagine like Microsoft Sam just translating that really badly.
empty your
I can
wallet.
imagine him like waltzing off a plane with his neckerchief and like all his chains and stuff on into like a fucking cabbie in fucking Medellin or whatever. Fucking. And this guy's just like, I've got to rob this guy. You know, it's fucking.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't do that, and I'm just generalizing, but you know.
Well, yeah, you'd imagine he would though. So apparently that led Bam to kind of relapse in the minibar of the hotel room then. After that, he was in and out the rehab into 2019, which he left them after 10 days because, quote, he was bored. 6 months later, he went back on Dr. Phil talking about his breakdown. After that, back to rehab, headed to the facility, but left after a few days. He returned after a few months due to another relapse, so he's just back and forth, in and out. Like, he had a child then. His child, don't quote me on this, but his name's like Phoenix Wolf, I want to say. Something Joaquin kind of sounding. So he sorted himself out a little bit after he had the kid. After that then, he was fired from Jackass in February 2021 due to a breach of contract.
I didn't know that.
No, I know this is...
I didn't realise it would still go.
No, for the benefit of the tape, they are in the process of putting a new movie together. But I think under COVID restrictions and stuff, it's been very slowed down, if I'm correct.
That's it, yeah. Jackass number 4, I think it is.
Jackass Returns.
So according to Bam, he was fired for taking prescribed medication from professionals. So like the doctor was like, you got to take Adderall for ADHD, but Johnny Knoxville and co that wrote up the contract, they said, no, you're not allowed to take Adderall on set, and that just led to a whole bucket of shit. Why? Because I don't know, maybe there's lies somewhere, and someone's lying somewhere. It's just whoever you want to believe that, isn't it? So that led to the Instagram alcohol-fueled video that's since been deleted. This one done the rounds. I'm pretty sure I posted this one over to you guys, if you remember it. Any chance?
Yeah.
Kind of very, very upset in the video. It is sad to see. Like,
it is sad to see. It's just I'd like to state that it definitely is sad to see his sort of like downfall. It really is.
Yeah.
He was such a big part of like my teens, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, he's
Well, he was in the Tony Hawk games.
Yeah,
he was a playable character and stuff.
Sponsored by Element. Everyone's man. Yeah.
Bam, more often than not, Bam was the character that I'd normally play on Tony Hawk as well. In that instant, just because of Jackass, really. That's
nice.
I
always used to go with a guy with a like wheatus hat. Is it?
Mullen, I used to go.
Burnquist.
Oh, Bob Burnquist.
Mullen was good because he had the fucking.
Wheatus hat.
Bob Burnquist
used to have the glasses too.
Rodney Mullen was the Dark Slide, wasn't
he? Jeff Rowley, I think, was the Dark Slide.
Oh, was it? I apologise.
Oh, one of these days. Right, so 2021 in March/April, which is like round about this time now. New video was released by Bam, which shows him leaving a sex shop with a few items. His wife's in the car and he hands them to her. Have you seen this video?
No.
Right, so what I've done is kind of transcribed it a little bit.
Right, okay.
Right, so he's like coming out with his bag full of like sex stuff, right? So he chucks the first thing, You got lube. I'm not going to do an accent. No, not going on.
Why does Bam ever sound like that?
You got lube. You got lube.
Damn.
May as well do the Kermit voice, son.
So he chucks the first thing at her and he's like, you got lube to sting your hemorrhoids because you're an asshole. A butt plug for your mouth to stop your shit talking, and a big rubber dick so you can go fuck yourself. He's like just chucking these sex things around.
Christ.
She just looks at him then, and she's like, so you wasted all your money on that, and the dildo's too big. So Bam turns to her and says, you deserve to feel the pain. You said, I want you to hurt as much as my feelings do with your mean words. That's what Bam says to her.
Okay.
Then he goes on to explain that he's been a two-pump chump, complaining that his wife is attached at the hip to Phoenix, who's his kid. And then he's complaining about the lack of sex, to which his wife just turns to him and goes, "Why don't you shower more?" She says, your hygiene fucking sucks. You don't brush your teeth when you shower more. She goes, "Oh, I said hi to Gene today. He's my lawyer." So that's his hygiene comeback, which was nice.
Awkward domestic guys. Sound very awkward.
That's very awkward going on in public too.
Yeah, the video is it's. I
Bit
don't know if
cringy,
I don't know if they're like putting on a bit like, but it's very bad. Like, so the wife
Staged,
makes
It's a dark turn.
you're
It's
saying it
expected
could
to
be
be funny,
staged,
but
do you?
I think it might be staged, or like she's just so used to it by now that Bam is like just that much of a state. Like, but she makes him go back into the store to return the dildo to buy her a wand. Anyway, so I think she has
the old Itachi, the old neck massage.
yeah. So May now, which is where we are.
Back.
There's a new video that surfaced today of a Bam who's drunk as fuck. He's talking about like teaching his wife kindergarten maths or something. He just like rambles on for ages, and he talks about Knoxville's movie flop, which I assume is Jackass 4. He says that Knoxville owes Bam $5 million on each movie, and
Bad grandpa, is it?
could Bad Grandpa. That's old, that isn't it?
That wouldn't be that.
Or is he talking about flops as in his previous flops? Like The Ringer was one of them, was
Yeah,
it?
what was
No, we're talking about
Yeah,
this
The
this
Ringer,
month now.
Oh, I enjoyed the
right.
Ringer.
at all?
Hasn't aged well at all, no, but I
No.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, so Knoxville's got to pay Bam out $5 million on each movie, right? So Bam now thinks that Knoxville cancelled Bam out of the movies, said it was a breach of contract just so he wouldn't have to pay him the $5 million because the movie was such a flop, like, that he just can't fucking pay anyone out, like Paramount Studios included.
Was it more successful than Haggard?
Oh wow!
Remember
That's
Haggard?
A throwback, that is.
That was the film he made and self-financed and shot.
Yeah.
Starring Ryan Dunn.
God.
All people.
Yeah, Haggard was all I remember is that the girl going, "I want to play the Field of Dicks." That was like in the.
that was quite cult though, wasn't it? It wasn't like commercially released or anything, no.
No, it wasn't. It was like a CKY jobby.
Yeah.
Put it out himself.
Cradle
Might
of
got
Fear
distributed by
style.
Revolver, but it was literally his own video.
I've never
saw that
seen
movie
it.
all the
I've
way
never seen that.
No, it's very shit, to be honest. So yeah, that kind of wraps it up on Bam for the moment. Like, you know, it's
Damn, bam.
he
Is
did
there
get back
is
into
there a
skating.
release date on this Jackass movie then?
Jackass movie. Can someone do
It's
you
still in
mind?
production, is it?
I don't know. I didn't even know they were fucking making
Yeah,
one.
it's been ages.
be
It's been
honest.
about 2 years or something making this, haven't it? Seems like.
It still says 2021.
There's a lot of Steve-O does a lot of Jackass stuff where he introduces he got like a podcast and stuff, or like a show where he
Steve-O
interviews
talks,
loads
yeah.
of people. I think he should wrap himself as a podcast as well.
Steve-O's podcast is actually really good.
Talk about a redemption story. Mind, he has turned himself around.
Steve, yeah, he really
completely,
has.
like,
yeah.
Yeah. Fair play. He's got a very successful podcast. Yes.
That's Bathroom Breaks, hosted by Rab himself. He goes into a lot more of the cast and crew as well as the old CQI guys, whereas Steve-O has a lot more high-profile guests. But yeah, I prefer Rab himself. I find Steve-O quite irritating. It is what it is, Steve-O, isn't it? We're in a world where Steve-O is sober and his life is sorted out, and Bam Margera's a wreck.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
know,
world we live
innit?
in. It's crazy.
But like for his wife to turn around and say, "You spent all your money on these," that kind of struck a chord with me. Like, you know, is Bam the guy that was just buying these Lamborghinis to trash? Is he in financial difficulty? Maybe.
possibly, but it's very possible.
Fucking no idea.
Depends where he's invested the money. Like, did he sort of secure his future when he was doing all the Jackass films and Viva La Bam and all that? Like, you would have put money, like, invested in something to get money back every year or so much just to keep yourself going, even after you've done. So I'm guessing that's what film stars do, when they like, that's probably what Kevin Spacey's doing now. These
you got your own investment portfolio.
Kevin
We've just got so
Spacey.
much money. That
exactly. Well, yeah, no,
he's
because he's blacklisted from Hollywood. How is he going to get his money? He's going to get it from.
Fair.
don't fucking probably.
They got offshore nest eggs, I imagine.
For Jackass.
Did you know Bamajero is the
Jackass 4
Jackass.
is It's been delayed until October 22nd, 2021.
Oh, fucking get it.
Yeah, apparently on December 15th, 2020, Knoxville and Steve-O were hospitalised on set. Due to
Really?
injuries. Yeah, due to on-set
Tell you what I never got behind was Wild Boys, and never like that.
No.
Nah.
Was it Wild Boys? It was called
It
Wild
was
Boys.
Wild
Didn't
Boys,
really
yeah.
find that
That was
funny.
never fun. I like
It's Pontius and Steve.
I was around the same time as Dirty Sanchez was out, and then
It
Dirty
was, yeah.
Sanchez
Well,
took
Dirty
Preston.
Sanchez were,
same with
they
Viva.
were off the fucking
That was the same
chain,
with
man.
Viva La
Dirty
Bam, because that was
Sanchez.
around that time as well. I enjoyed Viva La Bam. I quite enjoyed that. 'cause
Dirty Sandwich was class. as well.
you always used to get cameos from like various rock stars in Viva La Bam.
Gua and shit. Like,
Yeah.
Jimmy
Gua.
Pop was on CKY, mind, didn't he? Old Blood on Gang Jimmy Pop.
Yeah, he's one of his mates, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Class one.
Yeah, man.
What's
Class.
the
Brandon,
bassist as well? Bassist from Blood on Gang used to pop up as well. Can't remember his name now.
I don't
Hasselhoff.
know his name either.
That's the one.
Next on the agenda, I've got a little bit on well, 2.5 Men, I suppose it is. It's not just about Captain Charlie Sheen, yeah.
Men.
So everyone knows. I imagine, like a lot of young people now, like Generation Zers, you know, it's kind
They
of
wouldn't
like
have a clue, Sam.
they wouldn't really know, no.
No,
Which is
especially
weird
in
to
the
think
corner.
that. It's odd
Yeah.
to think that.
It is like,
It's a massive
But-
show. Huge show.
yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Well, he was the biggest paid comedy actor on telly at the time, wasn't he?
Probably would have been, yeah,
At
because
one point,
Friends
yeah, at one
Friends
point.
would have ended by that point, so I would have imagined he would have been.
Yeah, he was getting paid. I'm just plucking figure out the air that I think I heard of, years ago. He was,
$75 trillion.
yeah, somewhere around there. There's about 9 million an episode. I think it was.
$10 jillion.
Jesus.
Sir, that's
500.
not a number.
So I caught up. Me and Sheen caught up a little bit. Had a little powwow. So what he's doing now, he's actually sober and he's selling tequila, despite being sober. He's also.
Have you heard this?
Go on.
Have you heard the expression "never trust a thin chef"?
Yeah.
I mean, why
Yeah.
would you trust a sober guy to hawk you tequila? What is it? I'm sure he's drank his fair fucking share of tequila in his time. Man.
Oh,
That's a
no
very good
doubt.
point.
Yeah, so he's also speaking for a treatment centre called Evolutions. You can find that on YouTube. Basically, what it looks like is like struggling addicts, kind of, you know, it's like a, I don't want to say AA, but AA. Then he went on Loose Women, actually, and he said...
Oh, wow.
Well, the UK loose
UK
women.
loose women.
Loose Women, yeah, that's
Our
what I
loose
found.
women, like.
Fucking
So
hell.
what I found on there was they must have shown him a highlight reel because he's kind of reacting to it. He says, "What a highlight reel," Sheen said of his past incidents. "It feels awful. I can't sit here and lie to you. Some of it's very surreal. To this day, I'm not sure how I created such chaos and wound up in that headspace. It's as though there was some alien or demonic possession going on. I wish I could make a lot of it go away, but they wouldn't call it the past if it wasn't the past." And I think that's pretty good sentiment, like.
Illuminati, perhaps, was it?
It's all that tiger blood, isn't it?
One thing,
But no, he's like, you know, obviously clean and looking back and seeing like
Yeah.
fucking hell. What was I?
the great thing to come out of that era of Charlie Sheen was, do you remember the song the Schmo Yoho done on YouTube? The Charlie Sheen
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Man,
Oh, yeah.
that was so
Winning.
good.
I've only got
So-
one gear, go.
Winning.
Yes.
Brilliant. It's so good. Like,
So you wrapped off the Loose Women interview with, I essentially have nothing to promote today, but I thought about that, and actually I do have something to promote. I'm promoting sanity, he said. I'm promoting a sense of nobility and a return to a more innocent place and just gratitude and knowing that whatever comes next, work-wise, that the vision that I will deliver will be spectacular, he says. He's looking aged. Let's just say that much
Yeah.
at the moment. But, you know, you got to wish him all the best. I suppose he lived a life of excess, and I imagine if we all had that
Best,
money,
yeah.
we'd do the same thing.
Fucking right.
No consequences, like, you know.
it's like that guy on the news in America when that woman asked him, "What will you do if you win the jackpot in the lottery?" And he went, "Cocaine and hookers."
Yeah.
On national news, she was like, "Okay, moving on."
Fucking right in the pussy.
So
Yeah.
on the lines of 2.5 Men, we got Jake, aka Angus T. Jones. Basically, just YouTube it. He's denounced everything he's done for 2.5 Men. Says he regrets everything
That's right.
after making a shit ton of money, I might add. And he's turned to God in a very big way, which is I don't know. I'm not going to say anything more on that subject, but I think it's worth a look. Like
He also has a shit beard as well.
Yeah.
I can't say much of that.
You can't grow a
Jake
beard
Shitbeard.
properly.
Captain Shit.
Isn't that a band?
It's the alias for the vocalist of a band called Sick Fuck. Yeah. Moving on.
We got Millie Bobby Brown, the star and actor of Stranger Things. Pretty much is not much to report on this one. She had a fan encounter. She basically started crying in her car, recording it on her phone. I mean, like it seems such a normal thing to do.
She's quite young though.
Yes, yeah, she's reasonably young. But like, why is recording yourself crying and breaking down and all that? Why is that so normalised these days? You know, that fries my brain. Like,
straight on live, innit?
It is
Straight on live.
Straight on, like. So, yeah, what she was saying made sense. So she said, it makes me upset when people try to push the boundaries. I wish they would be more respectful. But like, you know, in the old days, you used to have a proper breakdown. Like, you know, like remember Britney Spears had to like shave her.
They don't break
She
down.
had to shave her head, like, you know. What I
In
mean?
my
Yeah,
day, they had
breakdown
proper
anymore.
breakdowns.
they did, man. Yeah. Didn't have
Jeez.
breakdowns like they used to, but they just.
Morrissey's had a hell of a breakdown, hasn't he?
Oh, he is a
30-year
breakdown.
breakdown.
He is
See
a
that Simpsons? See that Simpsons gaff with Morrissey?
I've only
Fucking
seen that.
hilarious.
I've only
Fucking
seen the clip
brilliant.
of it.
Hilarious.
It's fantastic.
I haven't
Morrissey's
seen
an
the
absolute clown. So
I haven't seen the
whatever.
full episode of that.
My whole point with this YouTube and breakdown nonsense though is why are people doing it to themselves? Do you think they regret uploading these videos of themselves doing these things? Do you think
Maybe.
yeah that's
They
it?
will eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, post nut regret, like, you know, and you got the accessibility.
Post-nut clarity, is it?
You got the accessibility of like being able to look at just random people just breaking down completely, like, and it is when you sit and think about it, it is mental, like.
I've got it down to a T, man. Then the clarity, like
Yeah,
5-10 minutes, job done, back to normal.
just what was that meme?
Swallowing
with Paul,
down that regret and shame.
that meme with Paul Rudd when he's just like, and I'm okay.
That's how you do it.
Well, that's what that is. Stop asking questions, is what it is. Stop going on in circles in your head. But yeah, it is like this. And funny enough, right? I was trying to a random story. I was trying to find a MIDI sequencer I used when I was 16, and I couldn't find any trace of it on the internet because everyone uses MIDI now to control VST and like or VSTi or AUX or AUW rather, all this shit. And I was like, no, I just want MIDI sounds. Can I get a piece of crap equipment to run on my Windows XP virtual machine that makes MIDI sounds? And I couldn't remember the one I used, but like I remember being like when I was first joined MySpace and I would list all the shit. I'd seen bands doing this on CDs. You read the liner notes. I would list all the crap I used to make my music. And I was like, I must have written somewhere this MIDI studio thing I used. I was searching like 10 pages deep into Google on a band that I was in when I first joined MySpace. It was a project of mine. And I found a page, not MySpace, but it was like it wasn't SoundCloud, it was before SoundCloud, it was like a Last.fm looking thing.
Jesus.
And I copied them, because I remembered now when I read it, it had like 2 or 3 songs of mine on there. It was like Mixcloud or something, and it had like this whole bio that I'd put on MySpace, and I'd copied it word for word, I just copy and pasted it onto this website, because people just happened to be using it at the time. I thought, people will listen to the songs. And that is the earliest thing I can find on the internet that I've written or done, and it was when I was like 15, 16, and it cringed me to the fucking ends of the earth. Like when I was basically what I was saying, I was a complete fucking idiot. Just reading it back, I was just dying inside. The way I was like, you know, just popping off about how weird and interesting my music is. And I was like,
Leads you to think though,
But now-
are you gonna do that in the fucher to what we're doing now?
Yeah.
well, yeah, I've thought about this. To some of
Oh,
the
without
more
doubt.
flagrant comments I've made.
Well, that's what the recap episode is for. Sean's
Yeah.
apology, basically.
Yeah.
It's like BP on
No,
South
but
Park.
luckily, we never had this shit when we were kids, which people do have now.
Yeah.
You know, my MySpace is gone. I, for some reason, inexplicably got booted from Facebook, which was a blessing in disguise. So my Facebook account is permanently just gone.
Remember that time
But
you
all the
deleted me,
mad
Sven?
shit Say again?
That time you deleted me before. Remember that?
I don't know. You have to remind me
I
about
was like, why
this.
we deleted me? I remember that. Yeah,
Clearly,
that's the
still
story.
hasn't got an
That's
answer,
the
Sean.
story,
Why the
yeah.
fuck do you delete
An
them?
awkward encounter has appeared. Like,
That's the story. That's
what
it.
did you delete Burrow for, Sean?
Aye.
Was that when my account disappeared? Was
Yeah,
it that time? First time?
You deleted everybody for some reason on there. I don't know how, but it happened though.
My account went though. Everything had gone. I've lost. The sad thing is, I lost 5 years of photos between 2009 and 2014.
Deleted Burrow, did
But
it?
I deleted Burrow, yeah. But the best thing is, all those cringe statuses that you make, like from the inception of Facebook, when you're talking third person and stuff, is gone. And then the account I made from 2015 to 2017 is gone. It's all the band shit.
Some of your projects, one more notably, I was lucky enough to be an admin on, and I'm the only one who's even got access to that dead page now, which I should probably delete.
I think I know which one you're on about, yeah.
There's a few.
Again, there's some flagrant shit posted on there as well. Some choice language, which I wouldn't use now.
Yeah.
And that was purposeful. That was done purposefully because of the kind of band I was. But, like, yeah, it hadn't aged well. But,
That's it.
Yeah,
People
so I'm
change,
lucky-
people
I'm lucky
evolve,
'cause-
don't they, you know?
There's a few sort of non-regrettable, but in the right circle, embarrassing projects I've done myself. Various
that's it.
electro rap projects and auto-tune on Google
My did-
Translate jobbies and
This made me think of there's that picture of Beyonce where she's like standing there with her
Oh,
arms
yeah.
down, she's pulling the face like.
oh, that's right, yeah, that was
she
banned,
want-
wasn't it? She wanted everybody to
she
take
wants
it
it
down.
deleted. Yeah.
They tried to get it deleted off the internet. Like, how stupid can you be? It's
That's
like, I want this
1984
deleted off the
shit, that is,
internet.
son.
Like, that's not going to happen. Just
not
accept
gonna
it. Own it. That's the best thing to
Exactly.
do. Just own it. Like.
What people should have done is have it printed on a T-shirt, like. It's like
No, she should have got it printed on a T-shirt. That's what she should have.
Yeah.
Well,
definitely,
yeah.
Definitely.
Own
It's
it, own
the
your situation.
Streisand effect, isn't it? So they call it the
Yeah.
Streisand effect.
Own your situation, you know.
I think that terminology came from Barbara Streisand had the new house and they were paparazzi flying over taking pictures of it and she was like, no, don't do it. And then people were like, I wonder why she's saying that. I wonder how big her house is. So they were all Googling it and it was just reverse impact.
What you want, and it's a nice big sign in the garden, welcome to Earth or something like you want, don't you? You want to troll them with it all, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Have the drones flying over, like.
Lean into it.
I think it was at because Bill Gates recently got divorced, didn't he? And at his wedding, he hired all of the. He was on an island. I can't remember what island he was on, but he hired all the helicopters on the island to fly around to stop paparazzi flying over the wedding themselves. And he hired like security to perimeter it to stop paparazzi.
He bought all
He covered
his
the airspace, Sam.
Basically.
Yeah.
He covered the airspace.
Yeah.
He
just
bought
had
all the
helicopters
hotel
flying
rooms as
over
well,
and
didn't he?
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that on my wedding.
Do it, son.
I'm not getting married. No, I started rambling, but what point I was trying to make is like I'm quite lucky, and a lot of my past digital footprint is being erased for whatever reason. So like it's not so much of an issue but like this stuff is kept forever in the internet.
Exactly.
People breaking down, and it's almost second nature just to just go on the internet.
Kind
Well,
of calls
I've
back
been-
to what you're on about with P2P. That guy got like arrested for a year later. Things are there.
Yeah, and it goes for a lot of cancel culture as well. People go back and like get pulled up on tweets they made
100%.
like,
Yeah.
decades ago. It's just,
Happens all the time now. That does.
Yeah.
Like that.
Right.
Didn't on the lines of wrestling? Didn't Hulk Hogan have a close call with the N-word?
Close call.
Closer
Bit,
than yeah.
Didn't they
I'd
accept
say
him back
closer
into it,
than
though,
that.
eventually?
He's not. I wouldn't say he's accepted in the wrestling community, but
Didn't you
I know
see
he was
that
heavily
video of?
blacklisted, but I thought since he sort of creeped back in a bit.
he's creeped back in because he's Hulk Hogan and because Vince McMahon licks his arsehole. That's why. But like I think there's a video online. I'm sure I showed you guys it before. You can search it on YouTube of WrestleMania this year, where Hulk Hogan came back for the first time in ages, and as soon as he started talking, the crowd that were in attendance just booed him. They didn't. They don't want to know Hulk Hogan. Like.
Yeah, they overdubbed it with
They,
claps
they
and
did,
cheers,
they did,
didn't they?
Yeah, in the live feed, but they were
Canned laughter.
Can't laugh, yeah. There were
Yeah.
people who were
Callback.
videoing it on their phones, and you can hear the boos just resonating throughout the place. So.
Sucker.
He's got to be getting on a bit
Fake
now, though,
news.
hasn't he? He's got to be about 80 or something, perhaps.
Yeah,
Can't
around
be
there.
far off it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get.
Right.
And also another thing as well. Sorry, on Hulk Hogan, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame again with the NWO.
Again?
Yeah. So he's in on his own as Hulk Hogan, and then he's in as part of a group, the NWO, New World Order, as you should probably know from WCW days back in the day, all that shit.
Yeah.
I remember at the the game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
WCW versus NWO.
He was inducted into that after the whole controversy of the whole N-word thing, and it's just like,
Wild.
really? What's going on? Like, yeah, there we go.
Shit, they're on doorstep, they did, son.
Oh god, WWE's a mess, but
Before we wrap up, I just want to quickly go back to something I didn't fit in with Bam Margera. He was the first non-musician to be on the cover of Crime magazine.
really,
Ah.
Oh, okay.
before Jeremy Corbyn, was he, son?
Corbyn.
Jeremy Corbyn.
In before. Classic. Right, so on that lovely note, we're going to wrap up ourselves. So that's thank you very much from myself, and I imagine the other guys, I think. Is there a thank you from you?
Yeah.
You won't get no thanks from me. I won't have it.
Sorry, terribly sorry. Please forgive. Yep.
Right.
So thank you all for watching. We do appreciate every view we get, especially if you made it this far in. That is fucking
Okay.
awesome.